Pika, you got to throw me a rope sometimes. I totally fell down a rabbit hole of links that Pika was nice enough to put up for today's episode. Pika is earning their keep. His keep. He's a boy. And this one is. They're, Pokemon is its own thing. Look up a wiki on Piki. That's what I would suggest. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's time once again for the golden age of DC Comics. 365 days where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since and has been a constant source of comic book shop style conversations, the kind I wish to recreate today, here, right now, with you. Yes, you. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. Taking this coffee table book, and so pull up a chair, bring a cuppa to the coffee table. I'm going to have to get some more coffee. Oh, this stuff's so good. Thank you so very much. You are the most important ingredient of this recipe, our conversation about comic books. We're going to use this 365 days book for its intended purpose. We're going to open up to today's date, which is December the 15th. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And guess what? We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. We've been doing it all year long, and we're just going to finish this year strong. Stay tuned. We've got this covered, and we're having a great conversation. I see it in the comments. I see it in the live chats when I am blessed to be able to make one of my own 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern premieres. I am loving this interaction, this conversation. And this is what we love. We love comic books. And so let's get to it. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. This is a 2004 Abrams Press publication, written and curated by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. You can find the link to the description, in the description to the Amazon page, where you can get your own copy. It will look great on your coffee table. You can play along at home, and it makes a great gift for a geek. I know. Thank you so much. So let's see. Oh my goodness, it's another slow news day. We're coming to the end of the year, so we're repeating characters that we've seen before, that we've covered before, we've talked about. So there's room to always talk about every subject of every day here, such as we got Sandman and Sandy. And it's December 15th. I'm going to read the blurb. This is art by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. And this is a really nice I think it's a nice cover, but because we have the vocabulary currently to describe such things. We call this meta, M-E-T-A, as a prefix. So this is a little fourth wallish meta. Let's get to it, okay? Art by Joe Simon and Jack the King Kirby, from the cover of Adventure Comics number 90, February-March of 1944. The second version of Sandman, designed by Chad Grothkop and depicted for most of his career by artists Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, was a character at home in a mystical milieu, the subconscious. In Simon's words, the Sandman was a long underwear character who materialized out of dreams to fight and triumph over injustice. It's accent for embellishment, of course. Thank you. Yet, this is a very earthbound and comical comic book cover, in which Sandman and his sidekick Sandy awkwardly smirk and grin while sitting for their portrait. In the classic tradition of Renaissance portraitists, the hands of the artists as in view as he grants the subjects a dignity and nobility they do not really possess. Indeed. So yeah, let's look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. Antediluvian means before the Noah flood. That's a biblical reference. A reference. Here we go. Oh, holy moly. I had to scratch my nose, literally. I took the opportunity. Yeah, there we go. There's a hero and kid sidekick. Yay. Well, it was a bygone era. And, but I like the, there we have colors. There we have the artist's table. We have inks. We have a pencil. We have the easel, we've got the artist's hand. And so it's not necessarily breaking the fourth wall. It could be just, they're getting their portrait, done. So, I could be wrong there. Exactly. So I dubbed today a slow news day. I wanted to talk about, because yesterday I was talking about great grabs I got at the comic book store diving through their sale. There was you could always find some kind of sale there, or there's some kind of special. I think our local comic book stores need our money and our attention and our love. And if we're not going to church, or if we're not going to yoga, and if we're we should be going to the local comic book store. And if we're comic book fans, I mean, if we're blessed enough that these businesses have survived the past few years, I think they deserve, more of our foot traffic. And I think they're also trying to get rid of old stuff. I mean, to sell old, stuff, like to move old inventory. There's nothing, and that's just running a business. And so sometimes you come across these great sales, and I just wanted to once again just extol some love on a golden age character that that I love. I cosplay as Captain America. I am a Captain America cosplayer. I just got a great prop for it too. This is basically, I go as MCU Captain America. I have Thor's hammer there too for Endgame, and I also have I got Steve's compass. I love this. I got this from Etsy for $40. This is going to make a great addition to my Captain America cosplay. This, for me, explains the ending of Endgame. Lots of people have problems with what Steve chose. And I'm going to verbalize it real quick. It's a movie, so it has movie-telling values, and it's showing a finite story of, like, these MCU characters. We have to think of them more as like sports athletes with a career life. Like, I'm blessed to have Patrice Bergeron, the captain of the Boston Bruins, has spent all of his 19 years with our Boston Bruins. And he's remained healthy, and he's still at the top of his game. And so what if, so Captain America would only have so long to be Captain America, or Iron Man, and all of these heroes. They're tied to these actors that age. And it's what we get for taking these beloved characters out of their proper territory, a timeless comic book where you can have this dilation of time, or the suspension of disbelief where that doesn't matter. Batman's always going to be like 32 years old. Something like that, So, where was I going with that? So I'm a big fan of Captain America. I cosplay as Captain America, red boots, cowl, and everything. So Captain America is an intrinsic golden age character. We barely ever talk. When we talk about Marvel stuff, I think we tend to talk more about. There's Namor, there's the Human Torch, the original Human Torch. There's Captain America and Bucky. And so Captain America Comics #1 was cover dated March of 1941. So it was on sale in December. It went on sale December 20th, 1940, a year before the attack on Pearl Harbor. But it showed, that's the famous punching out of AH Not to be confused with Johnny Depp's ex-wife. Why don't I say it? I don't want to trigger anyone's algorithms, mostly, you know? And I think it's more funnier to... A.H., you will tell us about the plans there, Herr Rogers. I'm sorry to any of my German viewers. If you're single ladies, hi. And, but I picked up 5 for $20. It was going to be 2 for $10, or it was 5 for $20. So I got 5 trade paperbacks, to help, move some inventory for my local comic book store. I spent some money, and I love these stories. These are the stories that led up to the MCU and to that Chris Evans portrayal of Captain America in my wonderful cosplay. But so Captain America was in the Golden Age, and and was published until about 1950. So it was published between 1940 and 1950, and where it went on hiatus. It had a when Timely turned to Atlas Comics, there was they reintroduced Captain America along with Human Torch and Submariner in Young Men number 24, December of 1953. But that revival only lasted a year, and they wouldn't bring Captain America back until November of 1963, that we all know, the Silver Age. Strange, in the Human Torch story titled Captain America, in Strange Tales number 114, November 1963, writer-editor Stan Lee. I am reading this from the wiki. Yep. Depicted the 18-page story ends with this Captain America revealed as an imposter. It was actually the villain, the Acrobat. But then Captain America was formally reintroduced in the Avengers number 4 of March of 1964, which explained in the final days of World War II, he had fallen from an experimental drone plane into the North Atlantic Ocean and spent decades frozen in a block of ice in a state of suspended animation. And that's when he was thawed out and came back to us. And that's why, he's the man out of time. Let's see, we have the Ultimates as well. And the Ultimates is, this came out in 2002. And it ran between 2002 2004. It was plagued with delays. The Ultimates 2 with the same team, those delays were like almost cataclysmic, and but in hindsight, reading it in a trade, the story of course holds up. Yeah, oh god, what a Ultimates 2 was just like, it took forever for it to complete. Yet this is 2002, 2004, photorealistic art by Brian Hitch, and inspired the MCU. And it's a really good story, and it holds up. And it's a lot of setup and payoff, especially for part 2. And there's just, this is where the MCU is born. These are the storyboards. Storyboards are panel sketches, are sequential art laid out for a director in a movie production to show these are your shot sequences. These are your story beats. This is your cut. So it's always been a joke that, Hollywood, you've had these storyboards forever. Well, now that they're using them, there's a lot of hullabaloo to do. But yeah, I mean, Captain America is most definitely Golden Age. And he was brought into this current age. And they took that same story and adapted it. See, what is the Ultimate World? The Ultimate World was an imprint. It ran between 2000 and 2015. It's a closed circuit. It's done. It's no longer. It has ceased to be. That is an X universe. And it was a great. There were great things going on at Marvel at the time. I really am impressed. Between Ultimates and the Max line, there was Marvel Max, and they were just more mature stories set in continuity. Ultimates was not in continuity. Ultimates was a new before we reviled the reboot, and before there was always a to-do about this and that update and this adaptation. There was the Ultimate Universe, and it was its own Earth, and it was its own imprint. We call it Earth 1610, as opposed to the Earth Prime that is Earth 616. That's just geek speak for how to map your multiverse. So this Marvel Ultimate Earth had its own Spider-Man and its own Avengers team, its own X-Men, and when that Spider-Man died, there was a kid that got bit by a spider, and he became the next Spider-Man, and he was Spider-Man in his own universe after Spider-Man died. Yeah, his name's Miles Morales, and that movie really follows the Ultimate Spider-Man story. I hats off to that well-told Spider-Man story. That really, the only thing I didn't like about that movie was the hip-hop music. I hate modern music, but that's just me. Was it that Sunshine or Sunflower? So I tried to block that out. So yet, the Ultimate that universe ended in 2015, I believe, with Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, when the multiverse was exploded and recoalesced, and then we had multiverse survivors populating the Earth 616. See, I'm kind of I like to keep my finger on the pulse of Marvel. I love Marvel comics. I always have. I've been a huge X-Men fan, Spider-Man fan, an Iron Man fan growing up. But I think, my bias might slant over to DC more. I mean, Batman, there's more hits than misses for me with DC Comics. So I've had my finger on the pulse of Marvel, since Siege, which was the event after event after event, into the heroic age. And that's when I kind of stepped back a bit. And then came Legacy. And see, they got all these, Marvel had all these initiatives, all these, it's pamphlets, it's marketing. Marvel is just slick, and it's just a really interesting place to see what marketing things can work and what, or what doesn't work. Every few often years, there are just Marvel needs to, say, we're doing this year. It's Marvel Now. It's all new, all different. They're at least they're trying stuff, and they're innovative, and they're putting, I think that they legitimately aim to a younger audience than DC does, and yet. Currently, DC, for me, they at least are making superhero stories for superhero fans, like the old school. There's a few titles. I got my problems with Marvel Comics, modern, just them as a company and their creatives. That's a different story and that is a story for another day. Yes, I was trying to... maybe quote the Conan the Barbarian. I figured I bailed on that at the last minute, thinking, oh no, you're gonna get canceled for an inappropriate imitation of people, and you got me on that one. Yeah, shit. I stopped. So I bailed on that. Right, whoa, hey there. You might You got to watch yourself, I guess. You know, or we can watch each other and like watch each other's shows and talk to each other about comic books. I mean, I love talking about comic books. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. We have been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day. I make regular content about cooking and about soups. I am also known as the Sultan of Soup. We talk about purpose and gratitude, spirituality, bunnies having their breakfast in the mornings, and I will point out planets in the early morning skies. I do. I call it Naked Eye Sky. You know, cool. I think I'm trying to make cool content, and it's different things are catching on with different people. It's a wonderful thing to see. It's great to see everybody tune in. I really appreciate your comments and catching that live chat if I can catch the premiere. And thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.